Oh, greeting, Pepin Falcons, and welcome to another edition of Math is More Than Fun at Pepin. I am your host, Mr. Newber. We are now going to lesson 4. The fourth step in solving equations is going to be this one. And it kind of summarizes what we did in the first 3. If you remember, let me get my pointer out here. You know what this is, right? The purpose, we're going to isolate the unknown. We look at this equation and we see x's. We don't know what x's are. Those are the unknowns. And that is also the goal of solving this equation. So the first thing I'm going to do to solve this equation is I'm going to identify the goal and write it down. And this is it. X equals. That's where we're going. That's when I achieve success and I've actually solved the problem. The second one is characterizing the unknowns and the integers as apples and oranges, just because it's simpler. And it's something that is very obvious to anyone who has ever been in a supermarket that an apple is completely different from an orange, and you cannot mix them together. The third one here was combining like terms, but combining like terms only on each side of the equation. Once again, the equation is like a balance scale. This side is a quantity, a measurable quantity, and this side is also a measurable quantity, and they are exactly the same and will remain in balance until you start adding and subtracting things from them, all right? This one is just qualifying and describing where we are when you do that successfully. This one reads, at this point, there are no more than 2 items on each side of the equation. So we have started, like the equation from the last one actually had 4 items up here on each side, and when we combined the like terms, it came to 3. There are a couple of exceptions to that, not to this rule, no more than, but I'm going to show you what I mean, that the equations in which you don't end up with 2 on each side, okay? So let's look at this, and we'll start with this equation. And the first thing I'm going to do is identify what it is that I need to combine. Once again, I'm looking for apples and oranges. Well, here is an apple, that's an unknown, and here is an orange. So I'm going to combine these 2, all right? And what I have is 3 of these x's, and I'm going to take away 1. We all know that 3 minus 1 is 2. What I'm going to end up here with that then is 2x. I just combined these 2 apples. I do have an orange there. You notice I didn't do anything to the orange. I didn't even involve it in anything. All I did was combine some apples. So that plus 8 goes right here. Once again, I would really, really like to keep my equal signs straight down the page. And now I go to this side, and I'm looking for like terms. Remember what I said? Like terms are terms that are alike. Well, here's a number, an integer. Here's an integer. So I'm going to combine these 2 right here. And that will be 9 plus 6 is 15. And what I have left, I didn't do anything to this apple. I combined 2 oranges and got 15 of them, but I did nothing with this apple. This is going to be 5x. Okay? This is what we ended up with yesterday. This is what you will generally have. You will generally end up with 2 on each side. You see, we have an apple and an orange and an apple. Okay? But there are some situations where you won't have that. And these are the equations I'm going to put up here now. The first one, the exception in the first one is, I'm going to put up here a real nice equation. You're going to like it. I'm going to have 11x minus 2 and plus 8 and 2x plus 6 and minus 5x. All right? This is an exception. This is to tell you, and I need to tell you this, that that you will be solving equations on your level, on your level of the equation, on your level of math. We're going to encounter something when we combine the like terms on both sides, and you haven't seen it before, and you haven't been taught how to use it. So don't worry about it. You won't see it in your problems. The older students will see it, and they'll know what to do. So let's take a look at this real quick. Here are 2 oranges. I didn't do anything to the apple. That is 11x. And I come over here and I have an 8, and I'm going to take away 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. So we've got that. Nothing unusual there. Nothing there to report. Let's look over here. I have 2 apples. I have 2 apples and I take away 5. I have 2 apples. I have 2 apples and I take away 5. Those of you in high school, you know that that means you're going to end up with a negative number. But if you have not been taught how to subtract numbers and come up with negative numbers, don't worry about it. You will not have that in your level of math. 2 minus 5 is actually a negative 3. This is a negative 3x plus 6. Again, if you've never seen, if you don't do that kind of work, don't worry about it. If you do, and you're a little rusty on that, let your teacher know, and we can do another unit and we can review how to do that exactly. Okay? So once again, look, we ended up with an apple and an orange, an apple and an orange. That's what we want. Then we can move on with our solving. So I'll take this off. And this is where it gets, the exceptions to this rule for number 4 are very simple. They're not complicated. So here's another one. This one is going to be, I have 4b, it's 4 times b plus 3, and that's going to equal 7 plus b plus 4. Okay, there is an exception in that we do not have to combine any like terms on this side because we already have an apple and an orange. When you are working this and you do get something like this, you don't have anything to combine in this step. You can skip it on this side, not this side. You have 3 over here. Something has to be up here twice. And if you look, it is, here is an integer, an orange, and here is an integer, an orange. So I'm going to combine those and get 11, and then I already have the b. If you notice, we still end up with 1 apple and 1 orange on both sides. So we're okay. We didn't start out the way we started out, and we didn't combine anything on this side because we can't. We have an apple and we have an orange. We can't combine on this side, so we just bring it down after we combine this side. That's the exception to the rule. And then the final one, I think I have one here. Oh, I do. This is the one. This is the one that you will find interesting, and that is right here. We have the number 50. No, we have the number 5a. 5a is equal to 2a plus 9. Okay, Manning, I know you already figured it out in your head. Just don't tell anybody else. Okay, what do we have here? We don't even have the 2 on this side, and that's okay. What this means is no more than 2. No more than 2. We only have 1, so we're okay. When you see this, do not concern yourself with it. Over here, what do we have? We have an apple and an orange. It's already done. This is going to be in the step that I have right about here, in about 2 lessons from now. This you don't have to concern yourself with. We don't want more than 2. In other words, if there was a plus 3a over here, no, we don't leave that alone. That's 3. We don't leave 3 on one side. So we have 1 and we have 2, 1 of each. That's good, and we can go on and solve it from there. Okay, that's all this one is. So we can review this, and I want you to understand something when I review these with you and I show you these and stop so that you can, or you can stop so that you can write them down. I put up here a small equation. I put a plus 5, and I very cleverly made the apples in a red marker and the oranges in an orange one. Okay, so that kind of helps with that. Same marker that I did these in, I hope you can see it. But this one reads a plus 5 equals 2a minus 4. When this started out on this line, there could have been a dozen terms over here. There could have been a dozen or 12 terms over here. And you simply combine all of those like terms, all of the apples, all of the oranges, until you get to one apple, one orange, one apple, and one orange, and then we are ready to go. All right? Well, thank you for that, and we are going to be working more equations as time goes on, but I'll see you in the next video.